Hey, kia ora everyone. Welcome to episode 7 of Digital Footprints, a podcast by BIM and NZ. I'm your host Jake Nash, and joining me today is an awesome guest, Monica Greco from Jasmax. Now, in this episode, Monica and I talk a lot about the conference circuit, including how we first met and some of our initial interactions. We also talk about the imposter syndrome that you sometimes get from that level of self-promotion that you do at these sort of events. We talk about the role of support and mentorship, and we talk about how the industry is changing and how we're reacting to that change. So, look, I really enjoyed my conversation with Monica. I always love catching up with Monica. She's part of our BIM and NZ Auckland committee, and she's behind the scenes helping bring some great events to you up in Auckland this year. So, look, I really hope you enjoy my conversation with Monica. Cheers, everyone.
Okay.
Yeah. All
Sorry, we
sorted.
usually have a charger in the room.
Yeah. No, I know. I remember those like Revit capable laptops were always horrible for keeping battery. Like
Yeah, like
you,
an hour and a half I might be pushing.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. How are things in your world?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah,
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
settling
Um,
a little bit. Yeah. Do you know
is
what
it?
happened to me last year?
No, I've got no idea. I mean, I know that you were planning on leaving and then
Oh,
you
yeah, and
weren't.
then I didn't.
And yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I was supposed to go
Um,
to Switzerland and then yeah, it
yeah.
happened.
So that was the last I'd heard was that because you reached out to me and asked if I'd be interested in sending an application through. I never did. I kind of had my heart set on changing fields into academia,
Yeah,
but it was
yeah,
I'd considered it, and then I said actually no, I know a few people who might be interested in this, but
yeah.
yeah, it would have been a huge loss for Jasmax.
Yes. But yeah, we were happy I'm staying. Yeah. Just,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of things happened.
Mm.
So I'm just getting to the point now where like life feels a bit normal again.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's
It's
good.
good. Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I was just thinking the other day, it's been just on like 4 years since we first met, really, hasn't it? Um,
I
I was
was
like,
at
yeah,
the Build conference, eh?
it was the Built conference.
In
It was
Brisbane,
the one in the Gold
Gold
Coast.
Coast, Gold Coast, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I remember the night where we were doing like drinks and stuff ahead of time. I remember me and Anton getting there
Mm-mm.
and you were there and we're like, that's Monica. Like we knew you from your posts. And then we came along
Yeah.
to your talk and there was this funny thing that happened where the photographer came after your talk was finished, and so she asked you to pretend you were presenting. And me and Anton and I were the only two people left
I
in the
forgot
room, so
that.
you're just like awkwardly pretending to present to me and him
Yeah.
as we're going to
I
stand there
forgot
awkwardly.
that.
But yeah, that
Yeah.
was a hard case.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us. It's funny. The original idea for this podcast stemmed from when you were thinking about heading back overseas, and we were trying to figure out a way that we could celebrate you and give you your flowers without just doing
Oh,
like
thank you.
a boring LinkedIn post. And we thought, well, why don't we start a pod and get her to tell her own story? And then it sort of turned into this. And so we didn't have you for episode 1, but I'm happy we finally managed to get you on. But do you
Oh,
want to
thank
start
you.
by maybe telling people who don't know who you are and a little bit about what you do?
Yeah. So, yeah, I've worked as a project BIM manager. That's my title
Mm.
at Jasmax.
Yeah.
Been here for 9.5 years now. So, yeah, it's been quite a while. I started at ACOM. My first startup was CAD Cadet.
Oh,
Um,
right.
was there for, yeah, interesting title. I was still doing my diploma in architecture technology at the Open Polytechnic.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, and I got that job there at AECOM, um, and was there for just under a year, and then moved to Ignite for a little bit, and then I followed Mel Tristram to
Yeah.
Jasmax. Yeah.
Right. So you've been at Jasmax for 9 years, or you've been in the industry for 9 years?
Well, yeah, I've been in the industry for almost 12 years now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I lost count. The only
Oh
reason
right.
why I remember how long I've been in Jasmix is because my first daughter was born just when I joined.
Oh
So
right.
it's very easy to remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you actually studied in New Zealand. I didn't realize that.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I did study in Italy, but it was something totally different.
Yeah.
I actually never used the degree that I got in Italy. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you
I
so
have a
you went.
master's in marine biology, believe it or not.
Oh right. Well, maybe
Yeah,
one day you'll get to combine the two, work on the right project.
maybe. I don't know. Um, yeah. I feel like actually lots of skills that I got while doing the masters, I'm still using them, particularly around like data, because I used to do lots of statistics and
Mm,
data analysis, which I'm still
yeah.
doing. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the only like overlap. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. All right. So what did they call it? A CAD cadet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was pretty much like a junior technician. I was an
Yeah.
architecture technician, but I
Yeah.
didn't really
Yeah.
have any certificate to prove it yet. So kind of like an intern slash technician. Um,
Yeah.
it was still when we had the architecture team in Auckland, because
Mm,
it didn't last that long. So yeah, that was quite cool. It was a good learning experience.
mm,
Um, and then
yeah.
I Ignite, I was an official architecture technician.
Yeah.
Um, and then when I joined Jasmax, I kind of transitioned into the BIM world, BIM title, because I was like a BIM specialist.
Yeah.
And yeah, my role is kind of like moved a little bit at
Yeah.
Jasmax.
I can kind of I can kind of relate because when I was early in my career, around the same time actually,
Mm.
um my role went from junior draftsman to something they called a CAD and BIM coordinator.
Yeah,
Um, they didn't know what BIM was at the time. But they knew that they had to start doing it.
yeah,
Um, and so they had a CAD manager, which you go back far enough. Every firm had a CAD manager, and
yeah,
then their 2IC was this invented role called the CAD and BIM coordinator. It's a little bit of a technical snafu. It happens.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, I was saying that I was also some version of a CAD cadet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of funny how the industry's changed, and we've kind of just had to keep up with it as it's changing.
Yeah, yeah. It still
Uh,
feels like there are so many different titles, and like you never know, like when someone says BIM manager, what does that mean? BIM coordinator, like there's not clear guidance on how to use titles. I don't know.
yeah, and they change all the time. I
Mm.
honestly wouldn't be surprised if BIM gets kind of dropped from a lot of people's titles in the coming years.
Yeah,
It seems like
I am. You
it's
know,
becoming just information management,
yeah,
or digital engineering, or something like that. But BIM will eventually be the CAD of the
yeah,
2030s, I imagine. But
yeah.
yeah,
I think so.
it'll just be the same thing, but with a different logo on it.
Mhm.
Um, so what was it about kind of this industry that pulled you in? Was it just sort of a natural progression, or did you find that there was a? I'm talking about heading down the
BIM.
BIM pathway or
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
digital
Ah, okay.
pathway.
Yeah.
Was that just something that you naturally gravitated to, or was there just a need that you felt like you could fill?
Yeah, I think it was driven. Well, when I started as a technician or a CAD cadet, I
Yeah.
started straight away using Revit, and
Mm.
yeah, I loved using Revit, and I got very good at modeling. Um, and I don't know how it kind of ended up like I started getting curious about like the BIM world. And then it really was just meeting Melanie Tristram at one of the BIM
Mm,
in Z event. Cause I started attending the BIM in Z events,
mm,
and I remember talking to her to one of the events, and she remembered my name. And then she was the one that actually approached me and went like, "Would you be interested in a role at Jasmax, doing?" Well, the title was BIM specialist, but really was like Revit support. I was doing
mm.
Revit and Uforma support.
Yeah.
Uh, and I don't know, I really liked the idea. It felt like a good opportunity to grow. I kind of liked being a technician, but I
Mm,
liked the idea of doing a bit more uh, of support. I really liked the idea of working with Mel. Um, I don't know, it just always felt like she was going to be a good person to work with
mm,
and a good mentor, and she has been throughout the years. So yeah, I took the opportunity, and I pretty much just did a lot of training and Revit support as well as new forma for a couple of years, and then transitioned more into like a, if I could call it like a BIM support role, where I started having a look at the BIM execution plans and at the BIM
mm.
coordination. I started using Dynamo quite a lot, so I became the Dynamo specialist. Um, yeah, and now I do a little bit of everything. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. So I discovered you because of your posts around Dynamo and automation, and that was something I felt like I was falling behind on and needed to learn. So that's kind of how I came across your name and why I recognized you when we were at Built that time. And I think you were talking about Dynamo, but
Yeah,
actually
yeah, yeah. And I
the
think that's how lots of people, yeah, that's how,
but the presentation that you did that I really enjoyed was actually the deep dive on stairs. You did this talk where you
yeah,
kind of
yes.
talked about
There's some
building
railings,
stairs in
really,
River.
there's lots of
Yeah,
railings.
railings, and
Yeah,
I love that because
yeah,
this is a real technician thing. But man, I love drawing stairs. I love designing stairs. I love the methodical nature of figuring them out.
yeah.
And at some point, you were switching screens, and I saw that you had this full library of all these different stairs that you built for people to use. And I remember asking, do you manage to get people to use them? And that was met with like a little bit of it. Sometimes, but I'd like it if they use them more.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. It's always like that. Oh, yeah, no, I can't, like, actually, that presentation got me, like, in front of quite a few people, um, including, like, um, the guy that does Revit Pure, and then ended up presenting on Revit Pure as well, not about the stairs and railings, but it's quite funny because I just did it because Mel, cause she's one of the organizer committee members of
Mm.
the Build conference, and she's like, "Well, we need a bit more technical presentations." So, gosh, I don't know what to do with technical. I don't really do like lots of support anymore, but if you want, I can do one on like railings.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I was already doing another presentation. I think it was on Revit add-ins at the time.
Mm. Yep, I remember that one.
Yeah, yeah, and
Um,
then ended up doing that one on railings. There are quite a few people in that small room.
so, what was it about coming to New Zealand with a marine biology degree and then deciding, actually, you know what, I'm gonna do architecture? How did that happen?
Um, oh, it was really mainly about um, finding a job. As it's
Mm.
actually not, it was not that easy unless like you start doing a PhD with what I wanted to do. And I
Mm.
kind of like wanted to settle. And I always thought if I didn't do marine biology, I would have done architecture. So I thought, oh, why not, you know? So, but I didn't want to get straight into another degree and get an do the bachelor in architecture. So I thought, oh, let me just start and try the diploma in architecture technology, because yeah, also looking online, it sounded like there was a bit of a demand. Um, and yeah, and I got the job at AECOM while I was still doing it, so that was
Mm.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And that was, where did you say that was? Where did you study?
at the Open Polytechnic.
Oh, yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah, it was good because I was working full time doing other
Hmm.
stuff.
Yeah,
And yeah, I could just study while I was working without having to go to lectures. Yeah. Mm.
yeah. Um, I really wanted to kind of pull on this particular thread a little bit, but I guess it was coming from a perspective where I thought you'd studied overseas. I wanted to, there seems to be this really awesome influx of talent, let's say, internationally into New
Mm.
Zealand around the BIM and digital engineering space.
Yeah.
And so part of me was wondering, is it that the tertiary education system's just so much stronger over there, or it focuses on different things? But
Uh, mm.
now I'm wondering if it's the primary and secondary education that prep people to treat tertiary education differently, because one thing I'm learning is that there does seem to be a difference in the attitude towards education for people that grew up and learned in New Zealand or in Australia,
Yeah.
or places around the Pacific, versus people
Yeah.
that have come from Europe, that have come from South America. Have you
Yeah,
noticed anything like that?
it's definitely a different system because I did actually when I was 17, I did 6 months in Australia. So I did
Yeah.
6 months doing high school in Australia. So I can compare what we're talking about
Mm.
now, 20 years ago. Um, but yeah, it was pretty different, like how school was in Italy and how it was in Australia.
Yeah.
Um, so, but I don't know if that has an influence then on like what you were saying that like there's an influx of talent coming from overseas in New Zealand. I don't necessarily see that. Actually, in some ways, this is just comparing probably to Italy, not so much to the rest of the world, but I do think in some ways New Zealand probably prepares you a little bit better to the actual uh, reality of like when you get start a job instead of like
Yeah.
I find that Italy, maybe Europe, possibly Europe, it's very, very academic focused, but you don't
Yeah.
actually get the skills to start
Yeah.
work. But at the same, I also found that a little bit in New Zealand. I don't know, because when I got the diploma, like honestly, it was all, yeah, I don't know if they really prepared me to be an actual, technician or draft person,
mm,
possibly for a small residential place. I don't know,
yeah.
but definitely not like in like a place like Jasmax or Acom or yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You do a lot of building code stuff, I imagine, but
Yeah,
yeah,
lots
three
of
six oh
that.
four.
Lots
But
of
yeah.
all of the drawings were, and then like all of the drawings were like hand drawings. I had to do everything by hand. I was
Yeah.
still like with the ruler and the pencil. I was like, and then you get to the real world, and it's like, okay, draw me this in Revit. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah. Do you still do
what?
you do you still draw by hand sometimes?
Me? No.
No. No. Never.
Never touched a pencil since I started working.
That's interesting. I have notebooks. I still constantly draw by hand.
Okay.
I just find it the fastest way to communicate something. But
Oh
I
yeah.
guess that's just how I'm wired. Um,
Yeah.
because I do that with my students now that I'm on the other side of
Mm.
the fence,
Yeah.
um, and realize that they're terrified of doing that. So it's actually a great skill to get them to learn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, what is a what does a day as a BIM manager at Jasmax actually look like now?
Yeah. Again, like define BIM manager. I do like
Exactly.
my title is project BIM manager,
Yeah.
but I do quite a lot of different things. Um, the main part of my role is supposed to be BIM coordination, so
Mm.
be the BIM manager in a project where we do the BIM coordination. So all of the clash detection in Revisto and the BIM coordination meetings and the model audits. But it's not like a huge chunk of
Mm.
my work. Uh, it is part of it. I do work quite a lot on automation, so having a look at ways we can automate tasks. Part of it is Dynamo, but not just Dynamo. We're always looking at other ways that we can automate things. At the moment, like I'm looking at Workato, for example. And then we started using the Rofus quite a lot at Jasmax, so I've taken on the role of the Rofus lead, so I oversee that as well, which includes also the Rofus training. Still do a bit of support every now and then in between.
Yeah. You can't really stop people asking you questions, can you?
No. Yeah, when you kind of like become that figure, it's quite hard. Yeah, looking a lot at like development and like looking just in general at ways on how we can improve. Yeah, that's that.
Yeah.
Every day is different. Like I come to work, it's like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen today.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot. It must be exciting. Exciting might be the interesting way of putting it, but it must be really interesting working in this role because you're actually spread across quite a lot of projects as opposed to having one project be your life for 3 years. You actually get to have a bit of input and a bit of oversight over a whole range of things, and that must be quite interesting. What's that like?
Yeah, actually, I really enjoy it. I love the fact that as well, like I get to interact with a lot of people within the company. Like I'm not stuck with one team. Like I know everybody pretty much now, and everybody knows me. And it helps build those relationships within Jasmax as well. I like the fact that it's not monotonous. Every day is a little bit different, and also I love that I get to use my creativity quite a lot. Like I have quite a lot of what's the word? Not freedom of movement, but yeah, I have quite a lot of freedom in deciding what I get to do, which is good, as long as obviously aligns with where Jasmax wants to go. But I really enjoy that part of the job, and I have a very good relationship with Mal, so that really helps as well.
Yeah, and how is that sort of changing as the contractors are starting to become a little bit more digitally enabled? Do you find yourself working more with them in sort of a, I don't want to say mutual, but in sort of a symbiotic relationship where you're building off each other's expertise? Is that becoming more and more common?
Slowly though.
Yeah, slowly.
Yeah, very slowly. It would be good if it does, keep increasing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, starting to build some good relationship with the contractors. Yeah.
It's one of the things that's been really cool about launching a construction program is that we're working really heavily with all of the main contractors here in Wellington. We went to the new future accommodation strategy building that's been done by Studio Pacific at Parliament. And as we were walking over to it, we pointed out the Molesworth Street project that's just going up at the moment, and I told them a little about that. But that's one of yours, isn't it? One of Jasmax's. Yeah. And they've got like Altie and McGuinness are really capable at the moment. They've got these awesome like digital stations on all of their projects, and they talked about how they simulated the erection of the mass timber frames, and they've gone in the last 2 years. They've gone full down the digital pathway, and there's a few other companies that are sort of heading that way. I don't know what the contractor environment looks like in Auckland, but I imagine that maybe they're not quite there yet, but they'll be heading in that direction.
Yeah, they're definitely heading in that direction. Yeah, you can definitely see a shift. Yeah. Still early stages though, I feel like. Yeah, still lots of work to do, but getting in the right direction.
Yeah. And are you noticing a change there around ownership of things like who owns the model at what areas? Are they starting to come in a bit earlier, or is that still a few years off
Um,
yet, do you think?
I don't know if years, but yeah, still maybe a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, it really depends on the project. We're noticing like there are some there's definitely more with early involvement. Um, but not all of them, or like not as much as I'd like to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting. One of the last projects that I worked on before I moved out of architecture and into academia was an early contractor involvement
Yeah.
project.
Yeah.
And I could see that we still hadn't quite figured it out yet,
Yeah.
but I could kind of get an idea about where it was going, and I could see a future where
Yeah. Yeah.
um, that relationship is a little bit different. Um, and I'm interested about it. I'm kind of convinced, but obviously I'm preparing construction students for that sort of future, so
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of have to lean into it.
Yeah.
But I can see a few interesting conversations happening as that environment changes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
No, I've done. I mean, it's small projects, but I've done a few
mm,
schools now where we've had ECI, and just because we built a good relationship with Watson Hughes as well. So
mm,
every time it was just always us working with them,
yeah,
and still on a small project, like you could see the benefit, uh, definitely from a coordination perspective, and then being involved in all of the meetings during design already. Yeah.
yeah. So talk to me a little bit about automation. That seems to be one of your key areas of expertise, or at least
That's
it
what,
was
yeah,
when we met.
that's what got me into Dynamo in the first
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
So yeah, I was just like sick and tired of doing the same things over and over again, and like it took forever. Um, yeah, so I, I was lucky enough when I started at Jasmax. Actually, there was a guy working in Wellington, if I'm not mistaken, and he was quite good in Dynamo, and he was quite
Mm,
helpful just in um, explaining a few things to me just to get me started. And then again, um, what I love about this role is that I kind of like um, I can have quite a big input on what I want to do and where I
mm,
want to, invest my time to upskill as well. So I got the opportunity to spend quite a bit of time learning Dynamo, and I don't use it as much anymore, to be honest. I feel like now there are so many add-ins that can do like that simple task because I really
mm,
started with doing things like auto numbering rooms or auto number doors or uh, for all that now you probably have 10 different add-ins that can do that. So
yeah.
all of the scripts have been superseded. But I still use it quite a lot from a data perspective.
Mm,
Um, and the good thing about still being involved in the BIM coordination is that I do get closely involved with certain projects, which means that I build a good relationship with the team and I know what's going on with the project. And that's where the opportunity come up on how to use Dynamo, where like I kind of get to know what his little struggles are. And there are still some opportunity there where I use Dynamo from like a more like a data perspective to like uh, push data certain ways, particularly with the Rofus as well. Um, I still use it, and this is a script. It's a couple of scripts that I created about 7 years ago, and it was like my very first presentation that I did a build was on the model audits.
oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah, we still use Dynamo to do the model audits, just because there are different tools out there that can do model audits for you, but we never found like the perfect one for us. And now like it's been developed so that like how a lot of data gets pulled from the model and gets written into an Excel template that's got a whole lot of conditional formatting. So it's all based on like JSMX best practices,
Mm,
some industry best practices, but also like there's lots of cells that turn red or yellow, and visually, like straight away, you know what's wrong and what's not. So we still use those. I don't use it as much from a modeling perspective. Also, that's probably not related to automation. Yeah, so Dynamo was a big one. At the moment, we are looking at Workato.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
know Ricardo.
um,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh, ACC Connect is it? No, ACC is the ACC Connect. It's kind of based on Workato as well from a BIM perspective, but we're looking at it more like, not just from a BIM perspective, because it's not just Autodesk related or BIM
Mm.
related. It's got, big potential. But yeah, always looking for opportunities to just
Yeah.
reduce all of the manual work and repetitive work. I get quite excited when I have this kind of opportunities. I think it like
Yeah.
sparks my creativity.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how did you learn it? Because this is something that I used to get a lot, and it's it's comments that I've heard a lot as well. Is it's like drinking from a fire hose a little bit. It's really um difficult to just, you either understand the language or you don't.
Yeah.
And I remember going through with some team members where they're like, you need to use this node, and I'm like, what's that called? And it's called this, and I'm like, I would have never called it. How do you even know that? And there's just there's this process that you must just learn and just inherently start to understand.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
even if
'Cause, uh,
you, you might
yeah.
think, I know what I need to do. I need to take this, I need to filter it to this, I need to extract it, I need to put it here. But
Yeah.
the actual nodes and the pathways to do that can be
Yeah.
a real barrier to some people.
Um, yeah. I think that the greatest thing about Dynamo has always been the fact there is a huge online community behind it, which is super supportive. Like you go into the forum, like so many times I got stuck and you just put a question in the forum and
Yeah,
within 24 hours somebody is already like giving you an answer. The community is absolutely incredible.
yeah,
Um, that was the biggest thing. Because the community is also so good, there's also a lot of troubleshooting already online. Lots of people that are also sharing their things. So at the beginning was a lot of just trying to replicate what, or like slightly modified what other people had done, and then you slowly like start getting familiar with the packages, you start getting familiar with the nodes, and that's how you build up your knowledge. You do need the time to play with it, like I won't lie, and I was lucky
yeah,
enough to have the time to be able to play with it. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I just kind of started small, and then like it was actually quite good because people, you start helping one person, and then like words spread
mm,
relatively fast, and then you start and helping the next person. And that was probably one of the good things about my role as well. When I started it was kind of really more really support and really training. So kind of like everybody knew me. Like it's not like you are one person in the company that works in one team, and you kind of like just get to know your team. Uh, like literally everybody, even in our offices, uh, has always known me.
yeah, yeah.
um,
That's a good
yeah, and
feeling,
then
eh? Like to feel
yeah,
like
and
you're
then you
helping.
kind of
Yeah,
you kind of build that like reputation within the company where people know that they can come to me if they get stuck. Um, and the more they come to you, the more you learn as well, because you're like trying to figure it out for all of them.
mm,
Um, yeah, I also feel like you kind of need a certain mindset to be able to
mm,
pick it up relatively um, quickly. Like it's quite, I don't know, it's quite logical. You need to have quite a logical mind, I think, and that probably helped me quite a bit. Um, you do need to like solving puzzles, and again, I'm quite determined. It kind of almost like incentivates even more if I kind of get stuck because then like my determination kicks in, and I won't stop until I find a solution. So that
Yeah.
helped as well. Yeah.
And I love what you're saying about using it for data extraction, because that's where I found it the most useful. One of the
Mm.
things, one of my great regrets, I guess, that I didn't finish this before I left the industry was I was working on with a team, obviously, similar to you, a model audit script. It doesn't sound like it was as advanced as yours, but one of the things that we were looking at doing was taking all that data and then also reporting it as a line item into like an overarching
Yeah.
spreadsheet that had all of our projects, so that we could start to run comparisons between our model audits and
Yeah.
highlight from different studios where the same bad habits were coming from, or if it's a health project, these things typically tend to go wrong versus a multi story tower is always over a certain file size or something like that. And so I kind of had this idea in my mind of this Power BI dashboard that I could do to draw correlations between
Yeah.
audits. And I hope they carried that piece of work on after I left, but we'll see. Maybe they didn't see the value in it.
Yeah.
But
Well, but BIM beats probably helped as well.
BIM
Yeah.
Beats, BIM Beats kind of made a bit of that
Yeah.
irrelevant, to be
Yeah.
honest. But
Yeah.
it certainly made it faster. There's always a new tool that comes out and makes whatever you're doing irrelevant. I remember back in the day getting really into Unreal Engine because I wanted to be able to create VR visualizations and walk around a model in real time, and then one day Phil Reed from Enscape came along and made that a one-click thing, and I'm like, oh, then there goes like 8 months worth of torturous
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the better,
Yeah.
because it meant that we could do
But
things
it's interesting
easier.
that you say that, because I feel like a big part of our role is actually like it's constantly adapting to
Yeah,
new things that come
absolutely.
up and like new things that we need to learn. And yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And so how are things like vibe coding and AI and PyRevit and those kind of things kind of changing the automation scene for you? Is that something you're noticing a bit of change in? That people are writing their own scripts because they can now without as many barriers?
Um. Okay. I can't really talk for well, I can probably talk for another person that works here at
Mm.
Jasmax, but definitely, yeah. Um. AI is definitely helping with like coming up with those scripts and codes.
Mm.
To be honest, I've never, and this was probably a very conscious decision. I never wanted to cross that line and start
Mm.
writing coding. That's why I love
Yeah.
the Dynamo so much, is the fact that it's visual coding, and there is some Python in it, and I can, if I read a Python script, I can kind of understand it, and I can do very minor
Yeah.
modifications to it, but I never really wanted to become an expert and learn a coding language. I just
Yeah.
never want to do that. Uh,
I'm with you.
yeah, there's someone else at Jasmax that's quite keen and is learning that, and
Mm.
yeah, he's constantly I think he uses something called Grok.
Oh,
That
right. Yeah,
really
yeah.
helps him with writing in coding language, um, and which is very impressive. But yeah, I don't want that to be me. Like I'm quite happy with my Dynamo.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
In order to get really, really good at something, it kind of has to be your one thing, or your one of two or three things.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I was the
Um,
same. I didn't want that to be
yeah.
coding, but
I'm personally finding like this is very basics, yeah,
mm,
but I do use Copilot quite a lot because I'm
mhm.
also like because I'm again I love data and I'm very big data geek, and as much as I love Dynamo, I also love a very nice Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah, yeah.
And with the Office as well, I become an expert with pivot tables and all sorts in Excel.
Mm,
And I must say, Copilot has been absolutely amazing, with just
yeah,
helping me figure all of that out. The conditional formatting and formulas that I can do in there, like I would have never figured it out by myself.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was exactly the same. Copilot basically taught me Power BI.
Yeah. And
Taught me all
Power
the
BI,
DAX
it's
and
so
yeah, yeah.
good. Yeah,
That's yeah. That was my world for a
yeah,
year.
yeah,
Just so satisfying when something finally
yeah,
works. That
yeah,
was my equivalent for you. I was right down in that world around data
yeah,
analysis, same sort of
yes,
stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, at some point, and I don't know when this was, must have been, I think it was pre-COVID, but you became part of our Auckland BIM and NZ committee, didn't you?
No, later. I've
That was
just been
later on,
part
was
of
it?
the Auckland committee
Yeah.
since last year.
Oh, right. So I thought I would have had an inkling that Mel roped you in earlier.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Mel was one of the committee members, and then I kind
yeah,
of she's stepped down from the role, and
yeah,
yeah. No, I was part. I've always been. Well, Uh, I was one of the founder of the digital user group,
yeah,
which was called Dynamo user group to start with, and then became transitioned into digital user group. But yeah, no, the BIM and Z committee in Auckland just a year. Yeah.
yeah. How are you finding it? You're coming in at quite an interesting time where it's going through a lot of change, but
Yeah, yeah, no, it's
yeah,
but it's good changes. I'm
mm,
really enjoying being part of the conversation. I work very well with the rest of the committee in Auckland.
yeah,
So no, it's been good. Very
yeah,
excited about the changes that are coming up. Yeah.
yeah. You got a great crew up there. Um, and then tell me about your involvement with Women in BIM, because you've been involved in that for a bit longer, haven't you?
Um, Actually, not that much.
Oh,
Uh, I was a mentee.
mm-hmm,
Um, yeah, and I do. I'm part. Yeah, I take part into the mentorship program. But
mm-hmm.
other than that, I'm not that involved. We do have some catch ups in Auckland sporadically, so it
Yeah,
is nice when that happens. But yeah, Mel is more like leading that one here in
yeah,
Auckland. So I just turn up at the catch-ups, and it's nice to, yeah, just have catch-ups with other women in the industry. Yeah,
yeah. Are you starting to see? Because that's a global thing.
yeah, yeah, it's quite big.
Are you, are you starting to see it gain a bit of momentum, or is it kind of been sort of around the same kind of level of engagement for a while?
Probably same level of engagement. I
Yeah.
don't know if there's. Are you talking about if I see more women in the industry, or if
Well,
like
that too,
within women in BIM? Yeah,
but women in BIM was the thing I was quite interested in.
yeah. I feel like it's been. I'm always like. It's always a pity because I was told that the like conferences are all in Australia, and I wish there
Yeah.
was more here in New Zealand, or more of a present. But yeah, I would like to see a bit more of a collaboration between BIM and Z and women in BIM, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
hopefully part of what's coming up.
it's something that we're talking about for
Work in
sure.
progress, yeah, I know.
Wellington's seen a bit of an
Mm,
increase in momentum, I think. Yeah, we've got Louise Watton here leading it in Wellington at the moment, and we've
okay.
been talking about some kind of shared event. But I would love in the void left behind by Belt for there to be something bigger that
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
maybe
Yeah,
maybe a few.
even the last
Mm,
build, it was a little bit quiet. Like I found
mm,
the very first build that I attended, uh, there was there were a couple of things organized by the women in build. We had a nice lunch
mm,
catch up. And then like that was faded away with the next build event, which was a pity. But yeah, I always find like it's stronger in Australia, not so much in New Zealand. And
yeah,
don't know if it's because we don't have enough women in in New Zealand, but it's also one of those things where you need. It's also down to like you need to find the right individuals that like have got that passion and that drive to push you forward. Um, yeah. So I'd
yeah,
like to be more involved, but yeah, at the same time, between the digital user group and now, yeah, being part of the BIM and Z committee. But hopefully, yeah, it's something that will happen in with BIM and Z, the new initiatives. It's going to be a bit more of a collaboration.
yeah. Yeah, we've talked about a few different collaborations. Some more far along than others.
Mm.
Certainly, where we've got these kind of small groups that operate individually, I think there could be a bit more crossover. So we've talked about doing
Mm.
stuff with the Institute of Building,
Yeah.
Property Council, um, obviously Women in BIM. I'd love to be able to work with people like the Green Building Council or places
Mm.
like that, because I think the the broadness of what BIM and NZ does, despite the name making it sound like we do something that's very definitive and small,
Yeah.
um, it's all about kind of information about growing our digital acumen in what we do. And I think that could
Mm.
apply to a whole bunch of
Yeah.
um, different organizations and their tasks. So, you work with Property Council to talk about um, asset owners. What do they need to learn
Yeah.
from BIM? But then we run our own events. We were talking to designers and contractors, and talk to Green Building Council. We can talk about the data and carbon analysis. So I think there's a whole bunch of things that we can do, but it's finding the time, isn't it? So,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
So driven by like passion,
yeah,
really. Yeah.
yeah. Especially because it's a
And
volunteer group. So
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but it sounds like we'll have some good funding to do some things this year. So maybe for our audience, we keep an eye out for those different events.
Yeah.
Um, we're going to be collaborating with digital. By the time this episode goes live, we would have announced it. But we're going to do a little bit of a collaboration with the Digital Twin Summit.
Okay.
That's. I
Looking
think I
well
saw you at the Digital Twin Summit in 2024, didn't
for
I? You
24.
you
Yeah.
kept sneaking out into the hallway to issue some models. You had your laptop going, and
Yeah.
yeah, that was
Can't
a really
escape from
interesting.
that.
That was a
Yes.
really interesting conference because it was a completely different audience to what I'm used to.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. True. You
And
did because you presented with Brad, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
um, that was an interesting presentation. We were invited to present, and we kind of presented this idea of architects being sort of the first people
Hmm.
in the room with the client to kind of start to propose the idea about digital twin and start the conversation. Um, and I think the presentation was well received. I think people liked it, but it
Yeah.
was pretty basic compared to what some of the other people were talking about. There were some very, very technical presentations there. So maybe it was
Yeah.
nice to have one that was had a bit of levity to it.
It
But
was a good variety, though. Yeah, I found
yeah,
it quite interesting. Like a different, yeah, quite different from like the presentation
yeah,
you get built, and a bit
yeah,
shorter presentations as well.
yeah,
So you get
yeah,
quite a lot of variety concentrated in one day.
yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely felt like a bit of an imposter getting off that stage. But the feedback was really good.
No,
So
yeah, no, that's good.
I think
Yeah.
I think it was fine. You always, I
Mm.
mean, that's always the case. Every time you do something, you always walk away going, "Oh, I could have done that differently."
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Mm.
Um, you're right though. That last bit was quite small. I remember because we did that panel, right?
Yeah, love
I
that.
had you and
Like my
I
very
had
first panel discussion.
yeah. I remember having to convince you that it's not that scary, but
Yeah, it was pretty
and
scary.
yeah. We
Yeah.
had Eva and Jessica,
Mm.
and then Ryan and Tom, and we had that enormous room. We got
Yes.
given the full conference room, and walking in there, going, "God, is this for
Mm.
us?" But it was good. I thought it went
Yeah, there were
well.
quite a few people as well there, so I didn't feel like it was empty. Anyway, even though it was quite big. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No, I enjoyed
um,
the conversation actually. Yeah, it was
yeah.
good. Thanks for inviting me to that one.
No, it was fun. It was an interesting one to try and pose
Mm.
to Mel. She's come up quite a lot in this conversation, which is funny. But people who have listened to the others will know who she is because they would have already met her.
Yeah.
When we are proposing an abstract, and it's like I'm going to get a panel of my counterparts from various different firms, and we're going to talk about this. And she came back and she said, "Oh, who are you inviting?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know yet. Who's submitted an abstract?" She's like, "Okay, all right. Well, we'll just put it as a
Yeah.
we'll just put it as kind of like placeholder people at the moment." But yeah, it went well.
Mm.
Cool. w- this is going to be a really broad question. You can kind of take it in any direction you like. But I imagine over your 9 years at Jasmax and over your 12 years in your career, things have changed quite a lot. Technology's changed quite a lot. What you do day to day's changed quite a lot. Introduction of things like Derofus.
Mm.
Um, Obviously, things like AI are big disruptors. What do you think some of the big changes are going to be over the next 10 years of what you do?
Oh goodness, yeah, this is quite a big question. I don't know, to be honest, like in 12 years, I can't really say that I've seen like a huge change within our industry.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how AI shapes the industry in the next few years. Um, yeah, kind of hard to predict, to be honest. Um, not sure so much from a BIM perspective,
Yeah.
or from a BIM coordination perspective. Um, from an architecture perspective, yeah, I can see it, like it started happening already, but I don't know, like it's actually quite hard to predict.
Mm.
Um, I don't know. I go a little bit with the flow.
Yeah. Which is which is really the only way to do it, right? Like
Yes.
like I said, you can invest all this time in something and then a change happens overnight that makes it irrelevant.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. I really hope that um, there's a culture shift in what we do, and that new tools allow us to do things differently. And I don't know what that differently looks like. But what I hope we move away from is taking new tools and immediately trying to just do the things we've always done, but slightly
Mm.
more efficiently rather than, pardon me, really think about how does this thing fundamentally change what we do, or change our capability and offering and what we can do.
Yeah, and I
Um,
don't feel like we're quite like there yet. Like I feel there's a lot of stuff coming up. There is something new coming up every month, and
yeah,
you always, oh, this is amazing, but then like you go, oh, but then you wait a
so,
month and there's something else that looks a bit
yeah,
different. Like that could be better. And to be honest, like I don't know, like I know like AI is quite a big buzz at the moment, but and you were asking like what's changed in the last 12 years, and I said like not that much to be honest, because like we're talking about the AI, but at the same time looking just from a trying to deliver our work
mm,
efficiently, we're still just looking at the urban design team and the landscape team to stop drawing in CAD, in
yeah,
AutoCAD, and
yeah,
just
yeah,
start
yeah,
transitioning. So, like, we are looking at AI, but we're still trying to figure out how, because at the end of the day, it's about like when you have these big shifts, you also need to consider the people. It's not just about the technology, and it's a big culture shift
yeah,
from a people perspective as well. And how do you bring all of the people along in the journey, which is always very, very hard. And we're still struggling with just sh basic shifting to 3D modeling.
yeah.
To
It's probably the biggest challenge, and it's something that a lot of firms probably take for granted. Is that there's this whole other piece of it, which is about the cultural shift, not just purchasing and training people in the
yeah,
software, but changing the way they think about using the software. And the various firms that I've worked, or the various firms that I've supported as well, whenever Revit's rolled out, the first thing they try to do is make it look like AutoCAD, and say no, no. Or
yeah,
we could, we could look about we could focus on the things that make it different rather than focus on the things that make it seem the same.
yeah.
And I hope that there's a bit more of that.
And also, if you don't bring people, like if you don't manage to bring, because that's probably like one of the biggest mistake that I've seen
Mm,
repeat itself so many times, is that you spend so much, you as in like, I don't know, the
mm,
company or the Beam team, but like
mm.
spend so much time and effort uh, either developing or just introducing something new that you think it's going to save so much time and like create so many efficiencies, but people are actually not ready to make the transition, and then like nobody ends up using what you just introduced, or like it's quite a big effort to get them to understand why it would be useful, why it would save you time. Yes, there is the upfront time that you need to spend, upskilling, but there's a benefit at the end of it, and it's not as easy. It's not easy at all, actually, to bring people along on their journey. And I think that gets overlooked so many times.
Yeah. I think that's another thing that I'm hoping to see a bit of a cultural shift in, is this move away from focusing solely on billable hours, because what someone does in an hour versus what someone else does in an hour are two completely different things. And if there's a future where our capability is judged on what we produce, not how much time we build, I think that goes a long way towards shifting the mindset to more digitally focused or productivity focused work. And it was something that I never managed to shift in my time. But I'm hoping that people better than me and younger and smarter than me can come along and make that work.
Find a solution.
Yeah, cool. You must mentor a few grads in your time, or onboard a few people here and there.
I have a couple of people. Unofficially more than officially.
Yeah. It's never,
but there's a few people that call me mentor.
Yeah. What advice would you give to young people that are studying at the moment and kind of see a role like yours, or as something that they might be eyeing up in the future? What do you wish you knew when you were their age that you could tell them?
Make connections. I find what I've realized is really the power of connection is quite incredible in our industry, because it is relatively small industry. And my career happened because I met people at events and stepped out of my comfort zone, and I feel like there's quite a lot of people are quite introverts in our industry as well, so we were kind of a bit introverts and probably all a bit geeky as well. So it was for me definitely stepping out of my comfort zone and I started with the Revit user group when that was still happening at Jasmax. And I got to meet a few people there, and then there was the BIM in NZ. There's the Women in BIM when that happens. If you're lucky enough to attend some conferences, but just getting to know other people in the industry, I found that extremely powerful. Not just for the career, to bounce off ideas. That's probably my number one thing.
That would be your advice.
Would be my advice. Get to know different stories as well, because when you start getting to know different people, so you also get to know the different stories and how people got to do what they do. We're all in the BIM world, but we all kind of do slightly different things, and also I think it helps you figure out what you want to do really, and where you want to work, in which company as well.
You've only ever worked in like large scale commercial architecture, or when you started, were you doing kind of smaller scale stuff?
Always quite big. Well, I don't know. I worked for a few months for a very small residential architectural company. Doing 1-2 story houses, but I don't know if that counts. So
that counts.
It's always been big.
I must admit, I love that. I love doing that kind of smaller scale stuff. Where you could be super methodical and know it inside out. I used to do schools, like, $7 million was like a huge budget, like unfathomable budget back when I started. You could do an entire school with 7 million in like rural Hawke's Bay, and you got to see so many projects start to finish just within the 2 years that I worked there.
Mm.
And I think that's something that's missing when people start at the large scale, but at the same time, you get that ability to see these really advanced, really intense projects that, again, you don't get to see at that small scale. So there is some balancing there. Um, I'm not sure which one I preferred, but do you do you have like a favorite project or something like that that you always remember or look back fondly on?
No, not particularly.
No, that's so,
It's
that's
quite
so
interesting
interesting.
question. No, yeah,
Yeah.
no, not really.
Oh
Um,
man.
I don't know. I really like. I feel like I've built quite a good relationship with the health team here at Jasmax.
Mm.
So I do like when I get involved in all of the health projects. Other than with the Fed with the extra DROFus layer, but um, yeah, they're quite interesting project to work on and
Yeah.
to be involved on, and always very big learning curves in there. So yeah,
Yeah. Dorophus again is almost like its own language.
yeah, yeah, true.
Um, yeah, yeah. You must have made good buddies with Jasper over there at this point.
Yeah, well, actually, Jasper doesn't work at the office anymore right now, but yeah, he's left.
All right, I'm learning this live. I didn't realize that. I need to reach out to him.
Yeah,
It's been a little while.
yeah, yeah.
Um, oh, cool. Um,
Do you know Chris Murray? I'm definitely a very good friend with Chris Murray.
uh, no,
Talk to
we
him
had a
quite a lot.
when I was in industry, we had a Dorophus expert that I could just
Yeah,
defer all Dorophus stuff
yeah, yeah,
to him.
yeah,
So
Brendan.
yeah,
Yeah,
it it enables you. It's actually quite bad because it enables you to not upskill.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
when you get to sort of a management position, you stop kind of sharpening your own tools because you've got other people that can do it for you. And I worry that that's been brought forward with AI a little bit,
yeah,
in
for
terms
sure.
of that
I
critical
do like,
thinking and yeah,
yeah, I
but
do like the keeping in touch with the tools. So like, I'm very
yeah,
scared to, yeah, put my tools
mm,
down. I
yeah,
like
yeah,
getting my hands dirty. So yeah,
yeah. All right. Look, it's we're kind of coming on the end of the day now. I don't know if you can tell, but I closed all the windows in this little office so that I could eliminate the street noise, and it is roasting in
nice.
here. Yeah.
It does look quite
Um,
nice and warm in there.
yeah. Oh, it needs some like solar shading or something. It's intense
Yeah.
just this time of the day. But look, if people were wanting to reach out and connect with you or have a chat with you, where's the best place to follow you and get in touch?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn?
Yeah,
Yeah.
anybody can just get in touch with me on LinkedIn. Or
Yeah.
yeah, they will always find me at one of the BIM and Z events in Auckland or
Of course.
digital user group. Once we
Yeah.
actually get to set up an event for the year, we're a little bit behind with that. Um, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, I'm quite active on LinkedIn. So
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Hey, well, thank you for your time, Monica. I'm glad we were able to finally get you
yeah,
on.
thanks, Jake.
And for everyone out there, thank you as well for listening. We'll talk to you again soon. Cheers.
Cheers.